Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Waubonsee Community College's Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Steve Moga, and it was a fantastic fall for Chiefs athletics. And joining me on our very first segment, one of the Chiefs' newest All-Americans, Jordan VanBarriger. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
All right, I got it right. Is joining us here, the men's cross country team who had a phenomenal record-setting season for Waubonsee. And Jordan, thank you. I know you're not feeling 100%, but thanks for coming on in.
Thank you for having me.
You're the man in black here today. Even the black. Now those are the cool, old school.
Yeah, I had to
canvas
go.
Converse.
Yep.
Don't let our director Chris Foster steal those from you, because I'm sure he would. But I wanted to talk to you about what a fantastic season you had and tell the folks at home a little bit about it. And first of all, you're from Rockford, and you went to Rockford East High School, correct?
Yep.
You ran in high school, I assume? And
yes, sir.
How did you do in high school? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I went to state my senior year, so that was a pretty big accomplishment. I fell a little short for track, but every year I was up there for our conference, NIC 10. I was NIC 10 champion, like the first time in school history for like 30 years or something. So I had a decent senior year. My whole high school career, I was just trying to chase going to state and then finally doing that. So that's probably a pretty big accomplishment for me then, and it's probably the biggest highlight for me in high school for sure.
As a runner, you're always setting those personal goals.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good one to set. Now, what made you come to Waubonsee? I mean, how did you find out about Waubonsee, and then what convinced you to come here and run cross country for the Chiefs?
Well, coming out of high school, I was getting recruited from some D1, D2, and I really just had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to go to college or even if I wanted to continue running, so I kind of just took a step back and just waited, and throughout that year I was like, I really, really miss this. It's just when you're doing it your whole life, it's just so. And at the end of that year, the only person still reaching out to me was the coach here at Waubonsee, so that's how I ended up here.
And that was Trevor Howard, who was the head coach at that time. You improved. I mean, you had some pretty good times. You had a really nice year last year, but obviously everything improved this year. Was there one factor in particular that helped you increase your better all your times this year? Was there something that really stands out to you? Something that you did differently, or was there?
No, I think running's one of those sports where it takes a lot of time to build up. You're not just for the most part, you're not just going to be the top runner like that. So I think it's just been a combination of over the years, just all the hard work and then just continuing it. And some seasons you have okay times, and then you come back that next season and bounce back. So I don't think there's anything too special. I think I just stayed on it and didn't give up, and just kept grinding, and I was able to do some cool things this year.
When did you start running? Did you start running like 5Ks when you were like 10 years old? Or
No, I started running 6th grade. We had a little running program in our elementary, and I can actually remember my gym teacher at the time always telling me, like, I'll read about you in the newspaper and stuff like that. And so that's what made me kind of go out for cross country. And then I won my first meet, and I was like, I think this is for me. So, and ever since then, it's just been my thing.
It certainly has been your thing. I got to say that. You got to tell the folks at home some of the things you did this year for Waubonsee. Very first meet, the Elmhurst College Early Bird Invitational. You finished 12th out of 128 runners, and that was all pretty much four-year schools that were there. You were one of only 16 runners to finish a sub-20 minute there when that was just a 6K in the very first meet of the year. Then the Northern Illinois University Challenge in DeKalb, the 8K there, you were the only non-Division I runner. You finished 20th out of that group. All the guys ahead of you were Division I runners at that particular meet. Then came the Aurora University Spartan Classic, and you did something that no one has ever done here at Waubonsee. You won that race. 241 runners there, mostly four-year schools, a lot of Division III schools, Aurora University, Carroll College. They had a couple guys that were kind of on your tail, and you ran away from those guys the last few hundred yards and won that race and set a school record at that time of 25:22 in the 8K, the best time in school history here at Waubonsee until you broke it again. But tell us a little bit quickly about that race and what you remember about it. And I mean, it's not a tough course. Obviously, you felt pretty good that day. It was a perfect day to run, too.
Yeah, we had run that course last year, so I was pretty familiar with it. And, you know, I kind of started off the season, like you pointed out, 16th and then 20th, and it's like, you know, you're really trying to go for the win, you know, so I wasn't too pleased at the beginning of the season. And so I just kind of went in that meet just like, you know, I know this course, it's a fast course, it's a pretty good course, so I'm just going to lay it out there. And I was sitting in 5th for a good amount of time and then just slowly moved up. And, you know, there were some pretty good teams there. I was waiting for someone to kind of come up on me for a second, and then, you know, I kind of realized, like, with a little less than a mile left, it was me and that dude, and I was like, you know, I can do this. I can, you know, this is all me. And I just took it home, luckily, and just, you know, it was, and the time came with it. I had no idea about the school record or anything. And like the next day, my friend was like, so how does it feel to wake up and be the record holder? I was like, what are you talking about? And then I went and looked. So no, it was awesome. It was kind of like a big, that's where I feel like my season really started, you know, and kind of those first couple of meets, I was I wasn't feeling it. And then that meet, it was huge for me, for sure.
Well, that springboarded you to the NJCAA Runner of the Week, National Runner of the Week award. It's the first time they've had that, as you were the first time to ever win that for anybody from Waubonsee. So that was a phenomenal feather in your cap, so to speak. And I want to talk to you more about some of the other races and the nationals, but we got to take a break right now. So we're going to come back, we're going to talk some more cross-country running here with Jordan. So don't go away, stay with us.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision. Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent.
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Back here in Sports Spotlight, a quick reminder, you can get more information about Chiefs athletics by going online to gochiefs.com or to njcaa.org, or even for the region, that's Illinois #4 region. Did I say that right? No, region #4 sports.com. I had that backwards there. I was getting things mixed up, but somebody who's not mixed up here, I got Jordan VanBarriger here, All-American cross-country runner for the Chiefs. And when we took break, we just talked about you winning the national award, National Runner of the Week award, and you had obviously some other pretty good meets after that. I mentioned you guys went to Loyola on the lakefront. There were 35 schools represented there, and you were 8th out of 274 runners there. St. Ambrose all the way out into Iowa. You finished first there. There were runners from 10 schools there, 7 NAIAs, and you won that one, by the way, by 13 seconds, holding off 2 seniors. He's just a sophomore, by the way, folks. Holding off 2 seniors from 4-year schools there to win that one. And then you followed that up by winning the Region 4 meet, the dual Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference and Region 4 meet in Galesburg. Again, kind of a blowout win there. You won by 35 seconds. What's that like when you're so far ahead of everybody else? And I know this is a challenge for you in practices, too, because there wasn't anyone really to push you in practice. But how do you motivate yourself, or how do you have an internal clock where you're going, okay, I got to keep going here, or do you let off the gas at some point? I mean, how do you do that?
I mean, I always just picture it's like, you know, there's someone chasing me, and I don't know if he's moving up. I don't know what he's feeling, so I'm just pedal.
So you had no idea they were that far behind you?
No, I knew I had a decent lead, but I just, you know, I don't want to be that dude to get caught at the end or, you know, some crazy thing. So I was just, you know, I just kept pushing, and it was a pretty decently hard course, and I finished. When I finished, I turned around, I was like, wow, I didn't know I was that far ahead. So yeah, I was just going, you know, just going off how I felt, and just, you know, I think every meet, because cross country is one of those sports where you only get a certain amount of like time to kind of show what you can do. So every meet I go out there, and no matter if I'm first or last, I'm gonna put on the line.
It's tough though to set a pace though when you get nobody to help you set the pace though. Now, do you guys get there fairly early for most of your meets? So you walk the course, you get an idea what the course is or where the hills are at or where the different things are at, some of the maybe trouble spots. Did that help as being a sophomore? You were kind of familiar with a couple of these courses because you guys ran them last year as well. And that, obviously, I would assume that helped you a lot as far as kind of developing a plan of attack then within the race?
Yeah, it's always very beneficial to know the course beforehand. The only course we ran twice was the Aurora. So,
oh, okay.
So then every other one was new. So, but you know, after a while doing it all through high school, and then, you know, last year and this year, you kind of get used to, you know, you jog it a little bit. You have a course map. It shows different elevations, and, you know, then you kind of go jog it for a warm up, and you kind of get a feel like if it's a muddy day, where it's gonna be bad, and if it's a dry day, and so yeah, it's kind of different every time. It's one of those sports because it's a different kind of feel every time. So. But I think that's kind of what's really cool about it is you kind of can, you know, it's different every time. You can kind of, you know, whatever challenges you got to overcome for each course.
Yeah, it's cross country. It's like off-roading.
Yeah.
Something's different all the time. What is the biggest challenge to you? Is it, if it were muddy, is that the worst case, the thing that you dread the most as far as a runner? If it's a muddy day, or is it one course that's got a bunch of hills, or if it's a windy day? To me, it was always the wind. Not that I ran a lot, but I was like, man, it was windy. I was like, I did not like that.
No, yeah, I think it's the weather for sure. The cold. When it's cold, it's just it's so hard to just warm up. You know, a big process and getting ready is you want to get your body warm, and you know, when you get to the line, you basically want to be sweating almost, or, you know, you want to be ready to go. And so definitely the cold is no fun, which we live in the Midwest, so it's kind of inevitable. But definitely the cold, and then hills for sure. I mean, you know, you run a hill sometimes, and it just kills your body, you know. And then you gotta, you know, do the course again, maybe that hill again. And it's kind of one of those mental barriers where you're like, I just did this, and so definitely I think those two factors are probably the hardest for me.
Do you have like a pre-race meal that you prefer type of thing that you
always eat? Like the night before?
Something you always eat the
Yeah,
night before?
always pasta. Usually spaghetti, but you know, sometimes fettuccine Alfredo, kind of depending on how I'm feeling. So,
I want to ask you about the national meet then. Then you qualified obviously for the national meet as the region and Skyway Conference Runner of the Year and champion for us. It was out in Albuquerque, New Mexico though, this year, which is really different. You finished 18th, the highest finish ever by a Waubonsee runner. You weren't first, second, or third team All-American, but we're still All-American. You got an All-American certificate as an honorable mention, essentially. And the elevation, obviously, was a tough thing to adjust to, but you still set a new Waubonsee record, breaking your own record, finishing in a time of 25:18 for the 8K out there, and just a phenomenal way to cap off your season.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I think the spot before me was 19th, was the highest finish, and I got 18th, and you know, there's like 340 some people in the race, so I think it was kind of ironic that I said it and just by a place, so you know what I mean. So I guess you could say it was meant to be, maybe, that it was that time for that record to be broken. So, but it was awesome out there. It was hard, you know, being that high up and your insides just get so dry. Like, you know, we weren't even a mile in, and I was already like in my throat and my lungs. And, you know, being a distance runner, it's usually, you know, your legs give out before your lungs, but out there it was like my lungs were starting to give out before my legs. So it was definitely a new challenge for me, but I had a great time out there. It was beautiful out there. It was awesome getting to race against some good competition. And
yeah, a lot of foreign runners, a lot of international runners as well. Obviously a phenomenal achievement. Now, real quickly, you're looking to go where from here?
You know, I don't have a place picked out exactly yet. I haven't signed anything, but I'm definitely looking D1 for sure. I think I can be in that division for sure and perform well. So. And
you've had some interest from a couple D1s for sure.
And you know, I think growing up as a kid, and no matter what sport you're in, you always have that D1 aspiration, you know, no matter who you are. So I think that'll be the route for me, but we'll have to see when time tells. So.
Well, time will tell. You certainly put some pretty good times on the board already. Congratulations on a great year. And before we take a break here, you got to give a shout out to Grandma.
Shout out to you, Grandma.
That's Jordan VanBarriger, our All-American cross-country runner here at Waubonsee. We've got to take a break, and we come back, we're going to talk about volleyball and their trip to the national tournament as well. So stay with us here on Sports Spotlight.
Yeah!
Sam, Elmo.
Oh, hey, Julia. Are you ready to play band with us? I'm gonna play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Back here on Sports Spotlight, and I got to give a shout out to a women's soccer team. They had a fantastic fall as well. Their postseason honorees, first team all-conference honorees, Marlene Sanchez and Shelby Key. Second team, Jenny Nunez and Ashley Bailey and Rachel Polonier were honorable mention all-conference. Also for all-region, Shelby Key was first team all-region, Marlene Sanchez was second team all-region, and Nunez and Ashley Bailey were honorable mention. And another part of the fantastic fall for Chiefs athletics was the volleyball team success. And joining me now, Steve Kish and freshman Sydney Fedderly. And welcome. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
And I want to talk about the fantastic season you guys had. And I want to start right with the Region 4 championship, the second time the Chiefs have won the Region 4 title under your leadership. Congratulations, Region Coach of the Year, Steve
Thank
Kish.
you.
And second time you've won, the second time you've gone to nationals. And tell us a little bit about that, the victories there at the region against Sauk Valley. And you had a couple upsets there as well, and the teams that you ended up having to play. But all that was out College Lake County.
Yeah, it was a good tournament. I mean, we had a great season. So obviously, district-wise, we won out on our district. So we ended up with a 1 seed for the first time in school history, at least as far as I've been concerned, which gave us a better path to get to nationals. Getting through the first 2 rounds made it a little bit easier, which is where we always seem to have hiccups in the years past. And that kind of parlayed into that last match where this year we got pretty smooth track. I mean, Blackhawk gave us a good push in the second match of the day, and then playing Sauk in that last one, which has always been my kryptonite up until last year. And it was fun to take Jay to 4, but still beat him and make our way to nationals.
Yeah, Sauk has been, like you say, the kryptonite a little bit. There were some upsets in there too as well, so it kind of changed who you ended up playing a little bit. Tell us how that worked out.
Yeah, so the seeding comes off as a crossover format between the 2 districts, but then if all 4 teams in the Final Four are from the same district on the same side of the district, so we were all out of Region A, we reseed. There's some old rules sticking around there that they decided to stick with that reseeds everybody based on how you finish the regular season. So that ended up having us play Sauk Valley versus playing McHenry.
And McHenry also has been a little bit of a nemesis. So you and Kyle go back a little bit,
Yeah.
go back and forth every year with them. Now, I'm going to get to you in a moment here, Sydney, but I got to ask Coach one other thing here. You know, the 1 seed, which again makes your path a little bit easier. Obviously, you won some big matches early in the year that put you in a good position. Even though you lost to Moraine Valley later in the year,
Right.
it really ended up not mattering because they ended up being on the opposite side.
Yeah, it put us both at the 1 seed. I mean, our regional crossover tournament that we host, be able to take and beat Carl Sandburg and beat Sauk Valley, and then obviously beating McHenry at home in a normal weekday match was pretty much set us up to put us in that 1 seed spot. And then, yeah, unfortunately we did lose conference championship to Moraine, but it didn't matter. It put us both at 1 seeds on either side, so we wouldn't have to deal with them at all.
And again, our region has got so many schools, so many teams. That's why 2 of them go to the national tournament.
Correct. Yep.
Which is unlike some of the other parts of the country. And Sydney, obviously not a stranger to Chiefs volleyball. I'm going to mention that right off the top here to folks. Your sister Holly played for this guy. We won't say not too long ago, but you obviously got to watch Waubonsee and watch Coach Kish's system and coming into that. How much did that help you? You know, your sister having played, having seen her play, knowing what the expectations were when you walked in.
Yeah, it helped a lot. I've known him for a long time. He was my 15U coach at club, so I've known him. He's known my family, so it made it a lot easier knowing his coaching style coming in here.
And in spite of that, you still came to Waubonsee to play.
It took some convincing, but she came.
Now, you're an outside hitter. You're not the tallest player out there in that position, but you obviously great jumping ability. You get some great angles, and I wish some of the baseball guys could throw as hard as you get the arm action she gets when she spikes it. But is that the place you prefer to be, on the outside for the most part? And is that where you've played most of your life?
I've actually been a setter for most of my volleyball career, or about half of it. Last year was the first year that I went to outside for like a full year, so it's kind of new to me, but I prefer to be hitting on the outside or the right side.
Coach, is that something that she said she was a setter, and obviously she was probably a setter for you back when she played in the team before that. I mean, do you look at her and go, maybe she could play that other side? You know,
Yeah,
what changed your mind? What made you think of it?
When she played for me in club, she actually hit on the outside for me, and she actually started transitioning into that setter role in that year, mostly because of her high school, what her high school necessity was. So she was kind of cross-training at that point, so I knew how she was at her freshman year, and I'm like, we sat down and we talked when we started recruiting her, you know, like, you know, what do you really want to do? What's really kind of your passion or where you want to play? I'm open to either position, but you tell me where you want to go.
Well, it's obviously a very important position change for you, and congratulations. Should mention this, honorable mention All-American. That just came out here recently. Another All-American for you,
Yeah.
and this time a freshman who was an integral part of your offensive attack. And I, you know what, I'm gonna mention some of your numbers here real quick. 471 kills. That was 17th in the nation among Division II players. Also 13th nationally in points with 585 points, and 9th in aces with 77. And I should mention, not just an offensive threat, but also 584 digs. So that puts you in the top 40 in the country in digs as well. That's one part of the game that a lot of people go, okay, I'd rather just be jumping at the net and getting the kills. But obviously, you had no problem doing some of that dirty work too and getting down there and making sure that you kept the ball alive.
Yeah, I love playing defense. I didn't get to play defense very much. As a setter, you play it, but not as much as the other players. So me being able to play defense was really fun for me. So.
Well, obviously, you did a great job at that.
Thank you.
And you had some other offensive weapons that we're going to talk about, some of the other players, and of course your matches at Nationals. But we got to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk some more volleyball here on Sports Spotlight. Stay with us.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Back once again in Sports Spotlight, and now I got to give a shout out to the men's soccer team and their postseason honorees. Adrian Bravo Cobian was a first team all-conference selection. Labredo Oliveras and Alejandro Aravalo were second team all-conference. Jose Munoz and AJ Valra were honorable mention, and Cobian, Oliveras, and Aravalo were all region selections. So congratulations to all those men, and Brett Shuhaida and the Chiefs on another fantastic year. And I'm talking about the even better fantastic year, fantastic fall season that volleyball had. And we were talking about playing defense and all the other things that you do out on the court. I want to mention some of the other players, some of your other teammates here real quick. Got to give a shout out to them as well. Rebecca Robinson and Sydney Coltrup also were keys to your team throughout the year. Tell us a little bit about them.
They're both super fun people, and they keep the court high with energy, and they're just super fun to play with. They're some of my best friends. So.
Rebecca also was a first team all-conference selection, first team all-region, and Sydney was second team all-conference. And Coach, when you have that kind of depth, when you have more than one scoring option, it obviously makes your job a little easier, doesn't it?
It does. It allows us to kind of mix up our offense a little bit, not just be one-dimensional. Some of the mid-level teams, it's like where the ball is going to end up at, but we were able to throw teams off where Sydney would be leading in kills, but I'd have coaches complaining to me about, wow, your right side attack's really killing us right now, and I'm like, okay, but she got 23 kills off of you. What are you worried about the 10 she gave you? He's like, oh, that right side just destroyed us. So it's nice to be able to distribute the ball a little bit.
The other thing, and again, I mentioned this to you before, in my untrained eye, I looked at you and I worried about where you're going to get some blocking up front. And obviously, Gabby DeLavo was more than adequate at that, along with Alyssa Gittens. The two of them were fantastic in the middle for you guys.
They were strong pieces for us. Gabby came to us, just had a slow start to the season, kind of figuring out her place and how to run with our offense. And Alyssa coming off of winning a state championship at Newark, she had a lot of energy, but a little raw, needed some work, and they both came in, put the gym time in, and I mean, clearly it showed with being one of the top 10 blockers in the country for the longest time. So they were great pieces for us.
Yeah, they were certainly important pieces for you, and it got you to the Nationals. And you get to the Nationals. What was that experience like? You went to Charleston, West Virginia, different than anywhere else you played. It was in a kind of a big arena, a little bit different setting to say the least. Did that throw you guys off at all, or what was the adjustment to that?
We were all nervous at first. We were excited to play, but obviously there's a bunch of cameras and like big teams there, so we were definitely nervous. But I think after the first match, we calmed down a little bit and played much better the second match. So.
Yeah, you get the Butterflies out. You played the number 4 team in the country, Fort Scott from Kansas, I believe. You were the 13th seed. It's the second time the Chiefs have been in the Nationals, and it's the second time you've been seeded 13th.
Yep.
Unlucky 13, so to speak.
Someday they'll have to explain to me how they seed that stuff, but I guess 13's our number, so we'll take it for 2 years. That's fine.
Well, you drew a tough team in Fort Scott, and you played with them throughout that. Even though you did lose that match 3-0, you were right there in every single game. What did you tell the girls during some of the timeouts? I mean, you were so close. I mean, you obviously showed that you could play with this team.
I think it was just we had to work on eliminating some of our mistakes. I mean, we were toe-to-toe with blocking, attacking, passing, serving. It was just a few errors at the wrong times. I mean, our scores were close enough that I could say, there was nothing to hang our heads on, that we couldn't beat them. But, I mean, once we cleaned up some of those errors, we started to make a run, they'd make a run, and it just ran out of time. Yeah,
I didn't want to bring that up, but the errors obviously were an integral part of that throughout the year, and so was the errors at the wrong time as we watched that match. But it's like a basketball team that shoots threes. You live and die by the three. You guys are the same way with you were one of the top teams in the country in service aces, also service errors though. And that was a big part of your game. You were right up there in the top 10 nationally in service aces. What's the key to, first of all, having a good serve, and second of all, not having the errors? How do you work that out?
What I would do, and Steve told me to do, was to have a routine before I serve. So that definitely helped me get more of my serves in. I definitely started off kind of rocky with my serves, but just like hitting it far in front of you helped me make them go faster, which helped me make aces. So
certainly had quite a few aces, and everybody in your team. And that seemed to be one of those things, and it did catch up to you against Catawba Valley was your second match at Nationals, a school from North Carolina. Lost that one 3-1, but again, in every single one. I know that's got to be, it was frustrating to watch. It's got to be even more frustrating as a player and as a coach.
It's a tough one to get through. I mean, it's when you match up, I mean, there's a couple, they might have had a little bit stronger of a middle attack than we did, but for the most part, we were equally matched, height, ability, strategy, and how we were playing the game versus how they were playing the game, and especially when we did win the one set, it's like, okay, we can hang with these guys, we can't play at this level. And we've always, all season long, Bob and I and Mallory have pushed the girls and said, we're okay if you miss some serves, we're okay if you make some mistakes, it's fine, but I want you to be aggressive. And some of our positive statistics of being first in the country in aces and higher hitting percentages, we have, we strive for that, and when it comes with that, it does come with some errors. So, but we're happy with the girls' performance. You always want to win, but I'm not going to fault them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice to have a coach like that too, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you free rein to go after and be aggressive. I got to mention this: the 7th year in a row, 24 more wins. Pretty good job. You're over 200 now. You won your 200th match this year, so congratulations and all that.
Thank you.
And Sydney, I got to ask you, so as the Nationals, the experience with the national tournament, what we walk away from that, what do you remember the most about it? What are you going to remember the most, I should say, about the national tournament, that experience?
I'm definitely going to remember the bond that I made with my teammates there. We spent a lot of time together there, which was super fun. And I'm just going to remember playing with some of my best friends for my last few games this year. So it was a really fun time.
Good indeed. And you've got some stuff coming up too. You're going to continue on playing, right?
Yes.
You're going to go where now?
University of Wisconsin lacrosse.
Lacrosse.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Heading to UW lacrosse. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both for coming in. Congratulations on a fantastic season, an All-American season as well, and good luck as you go on. And for all you out there, good luck to you as well. We have to go now on behalf of our crew, Jim McGarrah, Chris Foster, Jamie Lara. I'm Steve Moga. Thanks for watching, everybody. So long.